Rahm Emanuel schools Meghan McCain on The View. You are painting a brush. Hi, welcome to JOA. If you're new to my channel, please click subscribe and click the bell button so you'll be the first to know when I upload. So watch this clip and I'll come back with my commentary.
Up what you were talking about with Portland. The protesters have set fire to a federal courthouse in Seattle. They burned a juvenile detention center construction site. We're seeing reports of Molotov cocktails being thrown at police officers, lasers sent to blind them. There's this weird, I think, difference between the way conservatives are viewing this and Democrats are, in the sense that I'm against violence no matter what. I'm for peaceful protesting, but the second you start burning things, destroying property, let alone murdering or shooting people like happened in the CHOP zone, I'm out. And I do think there's this weird narrative that if you somehow are against violence or don't want your neighborhood looking like Portland, that you somehow aren't for peaceful protesting. I actually think it's a really dangerous narrative for Democrats. Do you agree with me or disagree with me? And what do you think of this fracture between the left and the right on this?
Yeah, well, Megan, here's what I would say is, you said protesters. There are moms out in Portland. There are other people legitimately raising questions about
There's also
the challenge to the
Antifa.
government. That's right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So they're not, I wouldn't paint a broad stroke is my short answer. There are people trying to hijack these legitimate protesters and create violence. And I think in the response from the federal government shouldn't be trying to make Antifa the face of the protest. Let the local law enforcement take the lead. If they need federal assistance, they'll ask for it, like we've done in every other situation going back. And in this situation, understand the protesters who are asking America to live up to the promise of America, and know that others, individuals, not a lot, but are trying to hijack these protests for their own violent needs. And we need to separate them rather than paint in broad strokes.
I mean, I get that, but it's getting more and more violent. And again, it doesn't seem to be getting under control. And you even see the Portland mayor sort of backtracking on it.
Well, let me see. Seattle, a month ago, solved their problem without any federal assistance. I think it can be done. There are forces, Democrats have to be honest, that aren't here for peaceful protest.
So I do agree with this guy, Rahm Emanuel. And personally speaking, Meghan McCain is painting a brush. She's taking one situation that's happening in Portland and painting it across the whole notion of everybody. For example, here in New Orleans, Louisiana, we do have some instances where, people were acting up, people were doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing, but it hasn't gotten to that extent as a point of what's happening in Portland with people burning down a federal building. And yes, that's wrong, but at the same time, Meghan McCain is making this an issue with Democrats and Republicans when it should be actually a people of color issue or a black person issue. And going further about the situation, and I really didn't even put this into perspective when later down in the video, which I didn't put there, Rahm Emanuel was talking about kneeling, and I really didn't paint this perspective of kneeling with Colin Kaepernick doing it 4 or 5 years ago and him getting fired because of it as a religious attribute or some type of racial attribute that occurred back in the day when Martin Luther King was alive. And in reality, in the late 1960s in Selma, Alabama, Dr. Martin Luther King leads a group of civil rights workers and Selma black people in prayer on February 1st, 1965, in Selma, Alabama, after they were arrested on charges of parading without a permit. More than 250 persons were arrested as they marched to the Dallas County Courthouse as part of a voter registration drive. And also on the View video that I just showed, but I didn't play the whole thing, I just specifically put the part where Meghan and Rahm were debating. Rahm also said that he wasn't for the whole kneeling notion when the Colin Kaepernick situation happened. And he had a change of perspective because, like I said, he aligned the kneeling to a religious attribute. And come to think about it, I grew up in a Muslim household. And we put two knees on the ground when we pray, and we face it towards Jerusalem, where Jesus was born, and we pray to God. And that's just a sign of a prayer, a sign of peace, a sign of respect to God, Allah, and we pay homage for that. So this whole kneeling is not in regards to disrespecting the American flag, which a lot of Republicans do believe, and I don't want to generalize everybody, but at least for the most Republicans that I've talked to, they feel that is disrespecting the flag, and of course, they are of the white Caucasian race. This peaceful kneeling is for basically the social injustice that black people have faced for numbers of years. And people just don't understand that. And the fact that people are making this a political issue, a partisan issue, to me just irks my nerves, because this isn't about party. This isn't about policy. This is about fairness and being respected as a human being, and not looked upon as your color, but looked upon as your moral compass. You should be looked upon as your moral compass and not the color of your skin. And when these Republicans get that in their minds and actually understand and actually open a book, aka Donald Trump, then you'll realize that this isn't a disrespect to American flag. I love the United States of America. I wouldn't want it to be born anywhere else. Well, maybe Jerusalem, because that's, the hierarchy of land. But, United States is my love. This is all I know. But I, myself, as an American citizen, have faced racial injustices within jobs, within a police force, and within a neighborhood recently. And it's all because the judgment of the way I look, not because the way I am, not because of the morality of my own character. And that's a shame. That's really a shame that we still have to deal with this today, when this was pretty much the history of United States of America. And I'm just sick of it, and I'm tired of it, and I'm sure black people are tired of it also. So I'm glad this is being taken upon. And like I said, yeah, there's people who are taking advantage of the situation. They're using George Floyd's situation as their own narrative. And just like people want to stereotype the Muslim religion, they take extremist groups and they that use the religion, that use the Quran as a basis as to what they're doing. And Fox News conservatives, they use that religion, that part of ISIS, or I don't want to get into that, but they use that as a whole generalization of the whole religion, when that's not real what the religion is really about. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Please do subscribe and click the bell button so you'll be the first to know when I upload. Deuces, yeah.